All right, we are here with South Carolina head coach Boo Major. The Gamecocks close out the fall portion of their schedule on Friday when South Carolina travels to face number 2 Georgia at the UGA Equestrian Complex. Coach, as you enter this meet, a little bit of a losing streak, especially on the road right now. As you enter Friday's meet, just talk about how you feel about your team so far.
Well, I think that we've had some struggles this year. It's more not that our team isn't good enough to compete and good enough to win, but it's more been issues of making lots of mistakes. And some of the mistakes have been green mistakes, and some of the mistakes have just been mistakes that should never have been made. So we're, trying to address that a good bit, especially in practice, and trying to get to the point where we feel like we're riding as mistake-free as we possibly can. Anybody can tell you that, with any sport, that's really how you come out winning, is by having as few mistakes as you possibly can. And we've just been riddled with mistakes when we've been at these away competitions. So that's just something that we're trying to alleviate. That's one of the things we've been doing in practice. I think the morale of our team has been very strong, and I'm so proud of them for staying up and motivated and not just laying down and saying, okay, it's all over. So I think that we're continuing to work as hard as we can. We're looking forward to a great competition against Georgia this weekend, and we're continuing to practice to be prepared for that.
Georgia had been number 1 all the way through up to this point of the season. They just lost their first meet of the year over the weekend on the road at Auburn. When you look at a team like Georgia, defending SEC champions last year, you beat them in the national championship, so certainly a talented team, as good as they are on their horses. Is there a different approach that you take to competing there than you would at, say, an SMU or a Baylor?
I don't think so. We really are not going to elevate competing at Georgia to be any more complicated or any harder than competing at an SMU or a Texas A&M or anywhere else for that matter. I think for us, the good thing is that a lot of our parents can travel to it because it's close by. We only have to go for the day. So there are a lot of great things about traveling to Georgia. But we don't preach that this is a bigger meet than anything we've ever done this year or anything like that. What we're really looking forward to is just trying to get some consistency in our performance at meets, whether they're here or they're away. And I think if we can just accomplish that goal this weekend, that we have a better shot at winning than if we don't.
As tough as competing on the road in the SEC is, a lot of people may not know this, your senior class enters Friday's meet with an undefeated record at Georgia since they've been here. They're 3-0. Your team has won 4 in a row over Georgia, dating back to the 2012 Southern Equestrian Finals, and then they've won 5 in a row if you include that 2012 meet against Auburn in the semifinal round. Over the last couple years, I know each team is different, so a lot of different riders have contributed to that streak. But over this stretch of success, what has had these teams riding so well at Georgia?
I'm not real sure, to be honest. And when you look at on the other hand, Georgia has come to us and beat us on multiple occasions. So there's something that's kind of been a back and forth kind of thing between us and Georgia. I know they're not anticipating, us laying down for them, and we're not anticipating that from them either. I think it's a great record to have, but we're not really looking at records. We're just looking to get out there and get our not our first, but our first in a long time road win, and see if we can just keep improving upon what we're doing in practice.
On the hunt seat side, how do you feel about that group? I know Sydney Smith coming off her first career MVP for the Gamecocks. When you look at the rest of that lineup, a pretty consistent group that you've used throughout the season. What have you seen out of all of them through these first 6 competitions leading up to this weekend?
Well, I've seen good and bad. I've seen a lot of consistent performances, and even in some of our losing rides, I've seen pretty consistent performances, but I've also seen some major mistakes. I've seen a lot of nerves, and so I think, again, what we're looking at is that we're just going to get there. We're going to ride the best that we can. We're going to try to stay consistent. We're not going to let going to Georgia be the big factor of our weekend. The girls have steadily improved over fences, and you know, regardless of the record, I think I've seen a lot of improvement in their riding. I've also seen some meets where we personally thought they might have lost a point that we thought they should have won. So I've seen several of those over the course of this fall. So we're happy. Are we thrilled? Do we think we're where we need to be? No, we need to be better. We need to keep getting some mileage. You can't forget that these girls are very young, and a lot of these girls haven't ever even competed on a regular basis until the beginning of this year. So we're dealing with a lot of young girls who are really just trying to get some mileage, and I think they're you know, doing well, but again, got to get rid of the mistakes.
On the other side of that, when you look at your Western team, it sounds like, you know, you've been very pleased with some of the newcomers that have joined that lineup, and then I know Coach Sorrell is trying to figure out the balancing act between which group of veterans is going to be her group for the long term. When you look at both ends of your Western lineup, how have you and Coach Sorrell felt about those groups?
Well, I think we've done a lot of switching, and actually all 4 events we've done quite a bit of switching around, and I think that we might be comfortable with 2 or 3 of the girls that are competing right now, and then there's 3 or 4 or 5 that could go in at any minute and be fine. So I think one of the things that we're doing is doing a lot of shifting in those last few positions to see if we can find the right mix. I think that that's one of the things that Coach Sorrell is doing, and you know, it's a compliment to the girls, because it's not like we're saying, if we take someone out, we might have taken them out because they had made a mistake. We might have taken them out because we felt like someone else was riding better than they are in practice. We may have taken them out because they did screw up, you know. So I think, but one of the things is where if we have an issue with one, there's another one to come right in behind them, and I think that's a very positive thing to have. So I think we're deep in the fact that we're able to switch out a good bit. If you really look at it, though, we've got a lot of inexperience in there, and a lot of folks that haven't had a ton of mileage. We've had some bad luck here and there, and frankly, we go back to the mistakes. We've had some mistakes that have cost us. So I think that we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to still have folks that are sitting in the wings that could go in at any moment. When we're ready for them, they're ready to go. And so I think when you add all that together, it's giving us, in the long run, a more cohesive team with a lot more mileage than what we've had in the past.
All right. Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us today. Good luck tomorrow at Georgia. We'll see you on the road.
Great. Thanks, Corey.